Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Shalom. I'm David Mencer, Israeli government spokesman for the National Public Diplomacy Directorate in the Office of the Prime Minister this Monday, the 30th of December, the fifth day of Hanukkah, day 451 of the October 7th war. Very quick update from me, and then we'll get straight to your questions. On the tragic fallen amongst Israel's armed forces, it is with regret that I share that the number of fallen soldiers has unfortunately risen to 824. Captain Eli Gabriel Ategi was aged just 22 years old and from Kiryat Motzkin. He fell in battle in northern Gaza. First Sergeant Netanel Pesach was aged 21 and from Elazar. He fell in battle in northern Gaza. Sergeant First Class in the Reserves Hillel Diner was also 21 and from Talmon. He too fell in battle in northern Gaza. Captain Amit Levy was 35 years old and from Shomria. He fell in battle in central Gaza. Major Hod Shriedman was 27 years old and from Sofit. He fell in northern Gaza. And finally, First Sergeant Yuval Shoham was just 22 years old and from Jerusalem. He fell in battle in northern Gaza. These are devastating losses. There are no words of mine that can assuage the pain of their parents, their families, and their communities. We embrace them, their dear families who have lost their precious heroes, sons and daughters in this war for our very existence. The price of war is indeed heavy and painful. Each casualty is a world unto itself. So as we say here in Israel, may their memories be a blessing forever. Next, I want to draw your attention to the report compiled by the Israeli Ministry of Health on the abuse that Israeli hostages suffered while being held in Gaza. It catalogues physical, mental abuse they endured, also the lasting effects, especially on children. Now, Israel will submit the report to the United Nations committee that deals with torture, but these are real testimonies. These are reports of hostages burned, hostages beaten, hostages starved, and hostages humiliated, beaten all over their bodies, with hair pulled out, branded like cattle with hot metal, sexual assaults on children. The report has not received the attention it deserves. Please don't look away. Yes, it is disturbing reading, but it needs to be reported to stop it happening to our hostages still in Hamas captivity for 451 days now. 100 innocent men, women and children, babies and the elderly. They've been held in Gaza. With Hanukkah now, their families are undergoing, and our people, unbearable torment. With the winter upon us, their lives are in imminent danger. As our president has said, the UN now has the facts. It is morally obligated to do everything in its power to bring the hostages home now. Next, on the passing of President Jimmy Carter, Israel will always remember President Carter's role in forging the first Arab-Israeli peace treaty signed by Prime Minister Menachem Begin and President Anwar Sadat of Egypt. All of us here in Israel know that it's a peace treaty that has stood the test of time. It's held for nearly half a century, and we believe it holds hope for future generations. So the government of Israel sends its condolences to the Carter family and the American people upon the passing of President Carter. Next, an operational report. The IDF have this afternoon released details of the action in Jabalia. Intelligence showed attempts by terrorists to flee, to deploy deception tactics and ambushes in the Jabalia area. The IDF identified and eliminated multiple terrorists in the area overnight. Now, this op follows the targeted action taken against Hamas, the Hamas Command and Control Center embedded inside the Kamal Adwan Hospital over the weekend. Again, dastardly activity from Hamas. But during this operation, we have apprehended 240 terrorists. Now, our forces are working hard to locate weapons, to dismantle terror infrastructure, terror infrastructure and tunnel shafts and military structures. And lastly, let me share with you the latest figures from COGAT over the last 24 hours of aid actually going into Gaza, which has been facilitated by COGAT. 244 humanitarian aid trucks have entered over the last 24 hours into Gaza. 184 through Kerem Shalom, 69 through the Erez crossing. Now, these trucks have arrived from Jordan, from Egypt, from Israel itself, from our port of Ashdod. Now, that means food, shelter and winter equipment, medical supplies and clean water supplies. 136 trucks were collected from the Gaza side of Kerem Shalom by international aid organizations, but still, to all those that say that not enough aid is going into Gaza, 800 trucks worth of aid are still awaiting collection on the Gazan side of Kerem Shalom. As COGAT have said, if the international community bring their trucks, Israel will get them in so that the aid can be distributed. In addition, 6 gas tankers went in for infrastructure, all in the last 24 hours, and a full truck, a fuel truck for the bakeries of northern Gaza also went in. As we haven't had a briefing for the last week, let me share with you the number of trucks which have gone in over the last week alone. The figure is 1,290 humanitarian aid trucks which have gone in over the last week. Again, that means food, water, medical supplies and shelter supplies. 1,070 trucks went to aid warehouses and shelters in coordination with aid organizations and the international community. We say again, there is no limit to the amount of aid that can enter Gaza for the civilian population. While Hamas tries to steal the aid, we're getting the aid in to feed ordinary Gazans to ensure that Hamas's tactics of starving their own people cannot come to fruition. Okay, so that's the end of our briefing today. I'll now take your questions. Please put your questions in the chat and we'll take each one of them individually. Okay, I can see some questions here. The first question I can see here is from Joel Pollock at Breitbart News. Will Israel send a representative to the funeral of Jimmy Carter? Thank you for that question, Joel. I haven't got any further information on that. And as soon as we do have it, we will share it with you. No doubt the embassy in Israel, the Israeli embassy in the US is currently working on that right now. The second question you've asked is, has the Israeli government been the Israeli government has been diplomatic in praising Jimmy Carter yet? Yeah, as your question says, President Carter did more than anyone else to promote the false claim that Israel is an apartheid state. How does Israel deal with that legacy? Thank you very much for that question, Joel. We deal with that issue by stating the facts. We have expressed our condolences to the American people and President Carter's family on the passing of President Carter. We have stated that his enduring legacy is, of course, the peace agreement between Israel and Egypt, which has stood the test of time more than 50 years now. But we say very, very clearly, when it comes to allegations of those sort which are made against Israel, we just simply state the facts because the facts don't lie. And the facts are that this is a country that protects the rights of its minorities. This is a country where Christians are able to celebrate Christmas in freedom. And that's the only country in hundreds of miles in any direction from Israel, hundreds of miles in any direction. And we state as well that this is a country with freedom of access, with democracy, with opportunities. We do not say at all that we are a perfect state. No country, of course, is a perfect state, but we are indeed the opposite. of that slur which is made against this country. So the way we fight against that slur is by stating the facts. This is a democracy, the only democracy in hundreds of miles in any direction, with Supreme Court judges, indeed, with being Arab Israelis, but with heads of our banking system being Arab Israelis, with captains of industry in Israel being Arab Israelis. And that's why we fight off that criticism with the facts. And you've also said Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Hanukkah to you as well, Joel. It's very kind of you, and to everyone watching. And next question here I can see is from Hannah Julian from the Jewish Press. Do you know how long the Prime Minister Netanyahu is going to remain in hospital, and when he will return to work? Thank you very much for that question, Hannah. In my briefing, I gave an answer to that question, I believe. I haven't got anything more to add. The Prime Minister is doing well. The Hadassah Hospital, the superb doctors at Hadassah Hospital in Jerusalem, gave a briefing about the Prime Minister's good state in recovery. In my briefing, I shared with you it'll be a few days, and we expect that to be the case. Any updates on that will let you know. Okay, that seems to be the last question here today. So thank you for joining us. This could be the last briefing of the year, so we wish all of our journalist colleagues who are watching us here today a very happy new year. We hope that the new year brings more peace and more stability to all the people in the region, and also great success in this country in defeating the Iranian axis of evil, which has disrupted so many people's lives in this part of the world. Israel is being successful. We are beating back the forces of barbarism, but we hope that 2025 can be a new beginning and usher in a more peaceful future for all of the people of this region, especially to the people of Israel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and hit subscribe to stay updated with our latest content. Until next time, stay informed and inspired. This is Dejobnik signing off.